The next topic is vacuum distillation. In the previous topic, we discussed about the crude oil distillation. So, this is lecture number 16 and in the petrochemical technology. So, let us start the vacuum distillation. So, as you can see in this slide, we have written here the vacuum distillation is refining technique used to separate components of the crude oil that have very high boiling point, means the component which have very high boiling point and are prone to thermal decomposition at atmospheric pressure. So they may undergo through a thermal decomposition at higher temperature. They may be converted into some other product or with atmospheric pressure. So here in vacuum distillation, basically we are lowering down the pressure. It is employed in conjunction with atmospheric distillation to extract heavier fractions from the crude oil. So here is how vacuum distillation works. First step is lower pressure environment. So for vacuum distillation, the lower pressure environment is very necessary. So in a vacuum distillation unit, the pressure inside the distillation column is significantly reduced compared to the atmospheric pressure. That means the pressure is lower than the atmospheric pressure. So this reduction in the pressure lower the boiling points of heavier fraction that is present in the crude oil, preventing the thermal cracking or decomposition. So heavier component have higher boiling point. So due to the reduction of their pressure, the boiling point is reduces. That's why this vacuum distillation is preferred to prevent the thermal cracking or decomposition of the heavier component product. Now the heat application. The crude oil that has undergone atmospheric distillation has still contains heavier component is heated again in vacuum distillation tower, and the heat is applied at lower temperature than the atmospheric distillation to prevent the degradation. Means in the crude distillation unit the temperature is higher, but the vacuum distillation unit the temperature is lower and pressure is also lower, and this is used to distillate the specialized component or fractions that has the higher boiling point, but they can uh, decompose or they can crack thermally by high temperature, and pressure is kept lower. So the next step is fractional separation. The lower pressure environment allows for the separation of high boiling point components such as heavy oil, lubricating oil and bitumen, which might otherwise decompose at normal atmospheric pressure. That's why there is a fractional separation is done into the atmospheric or vacuum distillation column. So after this distillation, it is important to collect the fractions. So this collection of the fraction is similar to the atmospheric distillation, and different fractions are collected at various levels within the vacuum distillation column into the different kind of trays. Like lighter fractions remain higher level while the heavier fraction collect at lower level. So the lighter fraction will come at the top and the heavier fraction will appear in the bottom. So after collection of the fractions, the next step that comes is cooling and condensation. So as the vapor rises within the vacuum distillation column, they cool and condense into liquid fractions, which are then collected further processed as refinery. The heavier components are further processed into different other units. The vacuum distillation is essential for obtaining valuable products such as lubricating oil, waxes, bitumen, as these fractions have high molecular weight and high boiling points. So by conducting distillation at reduced pressure, it becomes possible to extract these heavy fractions without subjecting them to higher temperature, without heating them to higher temperature that is needed for atmospheric distillation. so which could lead to their normal degradation, which can lead to their thermal degradation, because at the application of higher heat they may be cracked or they can be decomposed. So the vacuum distillation units are typically an integral part of an oil refinery and work in conjunction with the atmospheric distillation unit to efficiently separate and refine various components of the crude oil, which are basically higher molecular weight and higher boiling points. So here into this picture you can see the diagram of the vacuum distillation. So here you see the same process is repeating: crude oil, desalter, heater, that is going to the atmospheric distillation unit. From the atmospheric distillation unit we are collecting the LPG and fuel, then further water to treating, then light and heavy naphtha, kerosene, light gas oil, heavy gas oil. So all these products are collected from the atmospheric distillation unit. Then the bottom residue from the atmospheric distillation unit, that is atmospheric residue, that is called atmospheric residue. This is going again to the further heating into the heater and then entering into the vacuum distillation tower. This is a vacuum distillation tower. From here at the top we receive the product, that is light vacuum gas oil and heavy vacuum gas oil. So this is the component that we obtain from the vacuum distillation unit. At the bottom the vacuum residue. So here into this picture a typical diagram is shown into a laboratory arrangement. You can see this is a heater, mental heater, works from the electricity, and here the heavy heavy weight boiling point component is placed into this, like you can place lubricating oil or vacuum light gas oil that is obtained from vacuum distillation. So you heat it using this heater and there is a evaporation column. So here the vapor forms and travels to the condenser, and condenser is connected to a vacuum pump. Here it is a vacuum pump which is creating a vacuum inside this chamber, and once the steam comes it gets condensed here, it gets cooled down, and the final product is collected into the collection flask.